Hi, Lauren. It's great to meet you here in Singapore with the National Critics' Choice. And although both of us are far away from home, but hey, we're glad to have you here right now on the online news.
Thank you. Nice to be here, Robert.
I heard that this is your first time here out of the United States, traveling on your own to Asia.
It is. I was in Manila last fall for the Torment book tour, but
right.
This is my first time seeing any other part of Asia, so I'm just really thrilled to be here. I'm going to Kuala Lumpur after this, and then back to the Philippines.
Oh, okay. And so, tell us a little bit more about how you actually fall in love with this whole concept of the Fallen series.
Well, Fallen started as a love story. I have always been interested in writing love stories, and most of my book attempts and short stories have been love stories. At the time I started writing Fallen, I was actually working on another novel. I was almost finished with it. It was a love story about two people, obviously, but it was a very small, almost confining world. The story implicated just the two of them. And it began to feel too small. I wanted to write about something bigger. I wanted to write about something with larger implications, something that a love story that could change the world. And at the time I was in graduate school, I was taking a class about reading the Bible as literature, looking at the narratives of the Bible in the way that you would study maybe in a literature class, a story or a novel. And the first day of class, I came across a reference in Genesis to the angels who looked down from heaven, saw mortal women, found them beautiful, and gave up their place in heaven for that love because they put it ahead of their love for God. And something about it struck me as a really conflicted, a really impactful, a really tragic, and also fascinating beginning to a love story. So the first thing that happened was I started thinking about who that girl would have had to be. Not just anyone could attract an angel's attention and make the angel give up their place in heaven for love. So she had to be a remarkable person in her own right. So I started to think about Lucinda, who she was, where she'd come from, what she'd seen, and what she possessed. And the answer to that's still one of the largest mysteries of the series. I'm working towards the revelation that will come in Rapture. But for now, I began with Luce. Daniel grew out of that character, and then I turned to all this angelology research, and the rest of the story unfolded from there.
Okay. But have you ever considered to include other characters like Gabriel and Lucifer? Weren't they part of the plot?
Lucifer features in the book. Gabriel, there's a main character named Gabby. She is based on Gabriel. A lot of this is less explicit than, it's not like I have characters with necessarily direct names all the time, but a lot of them are references and allusions. Daniel's name is based on the book of the Bible where we see the first angel act of his own accord. In the previous books in the Bible where angels appear, they're mere extensions of God. And so in the book of Daniel, you see an angel that is its own entity. And I liked that because I think Daniel is often, he's stubborn in a way that separates him from the rest of the angels in the series. And so his name was born out of that. So there are certainly a lot of angelic references to not real live angels, I guess we can't say that, but the angels that we've read about in all of this biblical lore.
Okay. And how did that a book deal came about? Was that by accident? But
what happened was I had written another novel. It's called Betrayal of Natalie, Hargrove. It's my first book. And it was a smaller release, and I signed it up without an agent, basically working with a friend of mine who was going to be the editor. The book is based on Shakespeare's Macbeth, and it's retold and set in a contemporary high school from Lady Macbeth's point of view. So I wrote that book and sold that to the publisher, and around that time, based out of that, I found my agent. And so once I had my agent, he was able to direct Fallen into the right hands, and then here we are.
Oh, that's very nice. Now, tell us, I heard a rumor that, that the Fallen series has gone into the hands of Disney. Could you tell us more about it and how that happened?
Sure, yeah. The series has been optioned by Disney, and there's a smaller production company under Disney called Mayhem, and they are they're sort of a darker, edgier branch of Disney. So in America, a lot of people get nervous when I say Disney. They think it's going to be a cartoon or a musical or something like that. But it's actually, the production company seems to really understand the tone and the mood of these books, that there's a dark complexity to the characters. And so I think that will be reflected in the movies. The deal actually came about the same day that Fallen was published. It was December 9th, 2009. And I didn't really even know it was going to happen. I mean, I knew that my agent was in talks with a film agent who talks to the production company, but there are many levels of degrees of separation between me and this. So I remember waking up. My agent had told me that they were working towards the deal, but I was so much more consumed at the time, I think, with the publication of the book, that I was focusing on my energy on that excitement and what, my first book signing and all of that. But I remember waking up the morning of the 9th and having just hundreds of emails suddenly in my inbox, and it was very rare for me at the time. Now I get a lot of emails from readers, but at the time that felt very remarkable, and it was. A lot of people had just seen that there had been a press release about the movie being sold, the book being sold to Disney. So it sort of all happened very quickly, much like the sale of the book.
Oh, okay. So would you have any control over the content of the movie?
I will be a consultant on the film, and I think that what happens when a book reaches a wide audience and there's a lot of emotional support coming from the readers, the filmmakers are sort of under an obligation to stay true to the story. So that should hopefully be the case.
And so have you been given any hints of who the cast are right now?
They're working on it. I know they're working on a script and very close to being finished with the script, and then they'll start casting. And it's all very much under wraps. But as soon as I have any details that I can share, I will.
But just for a tease question, and that is, who will be your favorite actor, or preferential actor, to act in one of the major roles for your movie?
The one that's the clearest to me is Cam's role. I think because he's a very important character. He's very close to my heart. The bad guy in the series.
Okay.
And I've always thought that Ed Westwick, who plays Chuck Bass in Gossip Girl, would do a really good job with him. Because I think he seems to put in like 110% into being completely bad, and I really like that.
And who would be a preferred director for the film? It's just a tease.
I don't know. I mean, I like to think that the production company and the casting director, they'll find the right people for it.
Do you think? How about Tim Burton? What do you think of him?
Oh, I love Tim Burton. I think, especially Alice in Wonderland. I think that was a really remarkable movie. I was totally engaged in that. That would be exciting. But I think there's so many unknown people. There's so many directors that I don't know about that are making great movies. So we'll just stay tuned and keep our fingers crossed that it's someone great.
So, before we wrap up, tell us about your plans. Do you think you were able to make a trip back to Asia again?
It's in the plans. Yeah. This is my first stop on the tour, so I'll be moving on, as I said, to Kuala Lumpur and to the Philippines. But I know I've been talking to one of the international sales people who does a lot of Asian travel, and we're talking about Hong Kong, we're talking about Tokyo, so I'm excited to see what the Rapture tour will look like.
And to wrap up, the sponsor for this trip, I believe it was MPH, I suppose, was it? So do you feel that it's been quite an adventure for you?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I mean, it's been wonderful, and the little bits of sightseeing I get to do are wonderful. Mostly connecting with readers who are so different from me and grown up in such different circumstances. It's really fascinating to talk to them about the series, to talk to them about anything. I had a girl at one of the readings yesterday, or on Saturday, who had flown from Hong Kong to come to the reading, and things like that are just so remarkable to me. But I guess that's the effect of books. I feel that way about a lot of my favorite books.
Great. Well, we hope to see you back here in Singapore and Asia in 2012.
2012, that's right.
That's right. And also for your opening of the movie. And please consider coming back to Asia for the opening of the movie as well.
I will.
I mean, it'll be something.
That would be exciting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And once again, Thanks for sharing with us at the National Critics' Choice.
Thank you very much.